Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Football Tonight here with the men of the hour, Laurent Courtines, the hot take taker. Always ready. He's ready to kill, man. Today, he's ready to kill, man. He's ready to kill some Manchester
I'm
United
so
fans.
happy. I'm so
Yes, sir.
good to win.
You already have. You already have. You did it on your show.
I
We are
know.
live on. We are live on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. We're everywhere, man. Trying to get this stuff done. But remember, like, share, subscribe, hit the notifications button. That way, you don't miss out on any more your shows. Comment. We want to know your comments. What you think about these matches that we're going to talk about. We're going to review the Premier League, and maybe if there is any time, we'll touch on anything else that's going on in the football world. It's nice today, man. Nice. But listen, the Manchester Derby,
Yeah.
as the same city divided in two, ready for a fight, ready for war at the
It
Theater
was
of Dreams, ladies and
it was
gentlemen.
great. It was
But
great. It was great.
yeah, what are your thoughts? And again, you can listen to the Squeaky Bomb Time podcast, watch it on YouTube at TopFCTV, or listen to it on Spotify and all your listening platforms, and you'll see
Yeah.
what Laurent had to say about the just the full Premier League yesterday. But
Yeah. I'd
what
like
are
to
your
get
thoughts?
into a little bit more detail and sort of just like feeling wise, like, I kind of went on a cerebral take about like it's really a mirror of just this game really showed what I talk about every day. Manchester United are the worst run club in world football. And this game was almost like the way it was played, you could see it. It was it. Like one team is well run, makes crisp passes, knows where the next pass is going to go, who knows where the next thing is going to go, makes recruitment that works. They get Haaland before he even goes on the market. He would have gone to Real Madrid if he waited a long enough time. And then the other one is just buying players as stopgap players. They bought Casemiro to try and paper it over. Now they had to buy Amrabat to replace Casemiro. Oh, they're playing Johnny Evans over Varane because Varane is too old. Hey, maybe don't get the garbage from Real Madrid who know the players are
Well, do you
done.
think? But do you think it was garbage though? I mean,
No, they weren't
I would
garbage,
sign
but
Casemiro anytime.
no. But what I'm saying is better to buy to sell a player at the year before he collapses, right? Now
Right.
it feels like Casemiro, he's still good. He can be like Busquets and control, but he
Yeah.
can't be
But he
the
can't be it
only
all. He
shooter.
can't do it all.
Right.
And
And
he's
so
not. He's not your midfielder that's gonna just
and then the
do
other
everything.
piece is just like we've seen this game before. Why is McTominay playing in a holding role? Like, he's good. He's good for bringing the
Right.
spirit of Manchester United onto the pitch. He's good for the moments where, like, you're hoofing it long, you're trying to win a game late. He's not good enough to play against Manchester City. Like, it's like Ten Hag doesn't quite know still how Manchester United works. It's like, hey, this is a derby. This is against the best team in the world. You need a more cohesive plan. And to be fair to them, they were pretty good in the first half. Like, he just read the whole game wrong. Like, he thought, oh, we're down a goal. I'll take Amrabat off and bring on Mason Mount for some more attacking verve. When it was like, yo, Amrabat's the only reason you're not losing by more, right? Amrabat was
And he takes
fighting
him out
people.
though. Man,
Yeah,
that's
and he
crazy.
took him out. Amrabat was fighting people. Amrabat was pressing. He's the reason for some of these turnovers. If you go back and look at that game, there were 2 or 3 occasions where United forced turnovers, put the ball into Fernandes or Højlund, and they had 4-on-2s going the other way. They just got them wrong, right? There was 2 different occasions I can think of. One where Højlund went in on his own, one with Rashford on a nice touch. It could have easily been 1-1 at the half. Now, to be fair, Onana had his best game. I think that penalty save really helped him. I think this game really puts him in good stead with the United group. So they go from one crisis to another. Okay, Onana's not a disaster, but now Ten Hag is facing his own criticism of like, basically, this is a Ten Hag's performance in this game, from selection to things he said after the game to the changes he made, was almost at the level of a Onana howler. Like, this was a manager's howler. We still don't know what United are doing. We still don't have a sense of what they're up to. We still don't know what they're trying to do. And City, we know City so well that people actually have the nerve to say that City are boring because they've seen them cut teams to pieces so many times the same way over and over and over again, all the way to winning a treble. I'm going to repeat that. City are trebles of Europe right now. Still, until you take it off me, they're still the champions of England, the champions of the FA Cup, and the champions of Europe. And they beat a mid-table team because
Don't
that's
you
what Manchester
don't
United are.
you didn't you feel like, well, that's I was just saying it right now in the weekly recap
Mhm.
that, um, I almost feel like City when they had the ball, 'cause I thought it was pretty, pretty
It was,
equal in the
it was
beginning.
good. The first half was competitive.
And I thought, but, still, I could see City that they just know what they're doing, and when it came to Manchester United, it was just everything like, "Let's see what happens," McTominay going and finishing, passing, Anderson. It just
It's a clown show.
it was just everything. Rashford, one of them just kept dribbling, just kept going. I mean, going to the stands, and
Yeah, yeah.
but I feel like they just didn't finish the plays right. But at the end of the day, that only lasted until that controversial call,
But
which
let's
yeah,
but let's also sort of get the expected goal things. This was a completely dominant performance. So
yeah,
City had at least 3 shots on goal where Onana saved the planet, right? Like
yeah.
they had
No,
expected goals of 4. Expected
Onana has
goal
been, yeah,
of 4. Now, to put that into context, expected goals have only been around since like 2003 or something. This was the highest expected goals ever put up against United at home. Just to
yeah,
give you a sense of how many chances, not because it's everything, but how many chances were in on goal, were close, and Onana had to make a great save. Just to give
yeah.
you a sense of that. I mean, it was a dominant performance. And some
And
of the passing moves were just like
to be,
the second goal with
yeah,
Holland on the back post was just like,
yeah.
I mean, it makes my hair stand up. It's like, this is
To be
incredible.
fair, because I've criticized Onana a lot,
He was good.
and I think that in the past few games he's been doing really good, which it's unbelievable that in the beginning there was a play where Onana and Maguire saved United again, and there was a few plays later where they actually almost screwed it up because Onana was like, City was pressing, and Onana, he has a habit of just holding on to the ball like unnecessarily, but that's not we're not gonna get into that. But
Yeah.
one play that he just gives it to Maguire, and Maguire
Yeah.
also held it a little bit too long. But my thing is with Manchester United, I mean, City is doing well. I mean,
They're incredible. It's
they're
just like
they're
it's
really
they're
a
so
really,
good,
really
they're boring.
yeah, they're really a really good team. Almost like effortless beating this United team. Let's talk about that controversial call because that almost seems like something that United fans can hang on to. Which actually today I didn't see much of, which is nice. Didn't see much,
Yeah.
contrary to what
Yeah.
the Liverpool
Well,
deal was.
yeah,
Uh,
I think so. As I was watching the game, I was at the Bluefoot in San Diego. Shout out to the Bluefoot, the home of football here in San Diego, 30th Street and Upas Avenue. If you ever want to go, Rodney's there. They're open. It's the home of Arsenal. It's the home of Manchester City in that pub. So shout out to the City group there. When it happened, I was angry. I didn't want that goal
right.
because that is a play that happens on every play. Only Rodri felt it, and it felt like a play that would give United fans something to say, well, we lost because of this. I was so worried that because of the way City played in this kind of like reserved fashion where they're very controlling, where they might have taken that goal and just been like, you know what, we're gonna be cool with this goal if United had sort of let them do it. And Hoyland runs sorry, Rodri sort of runs past Hoyland on a cross on a set piece, wraps his arm around him, and Rodri goes down. Okay, but it's on a set piece. It's a play that happens every play, every game. If you remember, I think the 2018 World Cup, remember they called it on everything, and there were penalties all over the place on all the set piece
Yeah.
plays. In Russia, they called them. They made an emphasis on it, and it's not good. And as I was watching it, and I got yelled at by other City fans, I was like, I hate this. This is terrible. I don't want this call. Now I don't remember if it was called on the field and they checked it, or did the ref call it and then he went to check, or he called it and verified? I don't remember what it was. He went to the monitor and said, yes, it is. He didn't call it. VAR told him to check it, right?
Right.
Right.
I think that's how. Yeah, they told him to
Yeah.
check it.
That was a
He goes and
complete,
checks
like,
it,
it's just nothing seems
but
to be
out of
like
nowhere though. Out of
yeah,
nowhere.
nothing seems to be
But I would,
joined with VAR. Like, that's not a call to jump in
but I would tell
at
you this.
all.
I would tell you this because I don't know who trains these guys because they're not consistent at all. There was a play where there's a, a big YouTuber Terry Flowers or
Hmm.
Flowers, however you say it, his name that he shared the a picture which you can't really judge penalty on picture. Never do that, but
Yeah, you can always find a still and look.
it was almost this. It was almost the same thing where an Arsenal defender was holding on to Hoyland and it looked the same. You know what I mean? And so why wasn't it cold? Why does it get cold in certain places and
Again,
not
these are
because
the
of no conspiracy here. It's just incompetence. Like these guys are not. And again, different people, so you can't always expect them to this just to do
also
the same thing every time.
it's a big game.
It's a big
And
game.
that was not a play that I thought Rodri was
Well,
gonna get on that ball.
but
I
you know this though. Like I'll be honest with you. In my head, when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's a penalty.
Oh, it was a penalty. It
but
was
in
a
my
penalty. There's no
but in
doubt
my
about
head,
that.
I'm like,
Please
this
don't call this.
this is gonna be shitty. All social
Yes,
media is
that
gonna,
was my point.
so. But isn't aren't they to do that though to a certain extent?
Yeah,
I mean,
I understand it. So I had this argument with Manny. Shout out to Manny, our Liverpool fan in the what's in our Squeaky Bum Time chat group. If you want, we'll put a link in. You can join. Don't mind people jumping in. But the thing is just like I feel like having a referee who's not at the game and is in a hermetically sealed place where he's just watching it on TV, you lose the connection and piece of the game that understands the flow. Michael Oliver is a guy who's the VAR who's very much about himself. He has a little bit of a showmanship to him. And all I could think of was he's putting himself in this game. He's saying,
right.
you know what? I'm not reffing the big game. Watch this.
You
I'm going to tell
think
Bobby
so?
Madley. I'm going to tell Bobby
I
Madley,
should have been
I'm
in.
the VAR.
You
Look at
should have
this
called
play.
me.
If I was at this
See,
game, I would have called it.
that's such a just a shitty way to do it of doing it,
Anyway,
man.
so but I'm thankful though that City were able to dominate the game and make it really like the reason why it's not being talked about so much is because I don't think anyone thought United was ever going to beat City
Right,
in a head to head the way they were playing. Like
right.
City completely obliterated
No,
United.
I
This
mean,
is
but
nothing close.
though, when that's the thing though, man, and we're gonna get into the United situation because they go down one goal and the stomach just drops for United fans because
I think in this case they didn't. It was the second goal that they really just
yeah.
disappeared. Like they were
No,
gone.
man, I think it was that penalty because of how it was called. Because of the
Mm,
penalty, it's almost like Haaland didn't like or Alvarez didn't hit it from outside the box and just broke your
mhm.
heart out of nowhere. It wasn't a football play. It was just like, damn,
Yeah,
I mean, we're trying to
yeah,
hold on and then you get that. It sucks.
yeah.
It sucks for football fans, but it doesn't hide that United is just a tough team to watch, and
Oh,
we've been saying it all season long. And
they're so bad.
no,
They are
no cohesion.
bad.
But so a lot of YouTubers now came out today, and they were backing him up. Just
Ten Hag.
decided to because of what he said in today's interview. I think it was that he said they asked him, "Are you trying to play like the Ajax style?" And
Yeah.
he said, which I don't necessarily see what he said 100% wrong because if you take it, you can't. He said, "I'm not, I can't play like I did in Ajax because that's not what they brought me here to do, and I don't have the players to play that style. We play a different style, whatever." In a sense, if you want to take it wrong, you'll take it wrong. But I mean, it's just like saying that I can't. But the YouTuber said, "Well, if you're not going to play the way we brought you to play, then you need to
What are
go."
you doing here?
Yeah, and that's a fair point.
Now,
That's a fair point.
I do fundamentally think that no one can succeed at United as currently Kate. I don't think that Ten Hag is a particularly bad manager. I don't think that anything can happen at United that doesn't work. One of the points I wanted to make on my show that I didn't get to make, but it was this analogy. Have you ever worked at a company where everyone knows there's going to be layoffs or you had a bad quarter and everyone knows the place is going down, it's falling apart, it's bad. Like it would be like if you worked at BlackBerry and the iPhone came out, where you know everything's falling apart. In this case, City are the iPhone and Manchester United are the BlackBerry. You know, like nobody uses this thing anymore. You know you're finished. You know you missed the boat. You're still trying to be like, but it has a keyboard with keys. It's dope,
Yeah.
right? We do security. So everyone at Man United is just like heading for the doors. Everyone is updating their resume. Everyone's checking on things. People show up and they're like, "Yo, I'm getting paid. I'm
Yeah.
here for the money." Right? It has a mercenary mentality. Nobody's there because they want to be. You know, Casemiro and Varane are just like, man, at Real Madrid, it was nice.
Yeah. It was
We
just
were awesome. This place is falling apart. Like,
um,
there's no Fiorentino Perez that, he's not
they're
the
just
manager, but he represents the club in a very strong
well,
manner, right? There's
uh,
nobody like that at United.
no, because I mean Florentino Perez, and it could be anybody. It does. You don't have to be that type of club, with socios. But United don't have a Florentino Perez in the sense that they have the one guy that says what the hell is going to happen and what the hell is going to, get
Yeah.
done,
Yeah. We're
and
getting
that's
Jude
it.
Bellingham.
And
It's
that's it.
happening.
And
Ja.
and if Rashford wants 400,000 a week, that's not going
Nope.
to happen. If you don't like it, go play at Everton. You know what I
Right.
mean? Whatever it doesn't
Right?
matter.
Because Real Madrid literally said to
That's
Cristiano Ronaldo, "We've
Florentino
been
Perez.
here before you and we'll be here after you. You can go get your money from
Yeah.
Juve. Adios. We know you're
Um,
done."
Inter Yamada says VAR seems to me like another step to control the narrative and outcome as much as they can. Football is a chaotic game with so much money in it. Ooh.
No, see, so Yama, I don't think it's a control of narrative. We create narratives from the game. The game doesn't create narratives. We make them after
Yeah.
the game. We make the after the fact. A ball goes if Rashford's take on that one ball goes in and then McTominay's goes in on his shot that Eddie saves, all of a sudden it's resilient United survives a VAR call. But
Yeah.
they still would have been the same shit United, but
Well, right there, you see it. Like he says, Man U had no chance against City. I don't see why their fans were so shocked.
they
Which I
they
don't think
didn't.
it was just the shockness of the play itself. Some players can mess you up, and I think that, like you said before, though, Laurent, you said I can't remember what play because VAR has been involved in every
Yes,
game
it's
this
all
whole
over the
season.
place. It
But
feels like, yeah.
it almost like I think it was a game where you mentioned that there was a team that were just attacking nonstop and there was a play. They went to look at it, and they took like 5 minutes. So when they came back, the momentum was gone. They didn't do
Mm.
anything. They didn't give away a penalty. They didn't do anything. But
Yeah, that happens a lot. You get a
the
VAR
momentum was
call
gone.
against you, it can lift you up.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. It was I think a home team was just attacking. The crowd was going, and all of a
If I
sudden,
was Brighton, because
and all of a
me, I'm
sudden,
always
yeah,
watching Brighton.
all of a sudden you go to VAR, and then the crowd is quiet, and it kills them, and it does play against in this case the home team.
Mhm.
So now is Ten Hag going to be sacked? I mean,
It's
now
starting to feel that way.
starting to feel that
It's
way.
starting to feel I didn't think it would happen. I think it's frankly surprising. Listen, I talked about Ten Hag last season before you and I had a show together. He had a great season. Top 4 and a trophy.
Right.
That's good. And an FA Cup final. They only lost 1-0 to City. And I think that there was hope. There was feeling that there was progress. There was feeling that the team was going forward. There was feeling like he won some of the battles. He took on Cristiano and said, "No, thank you. We're going to do it my way." He figured out some things that were pragmatic. He tried to play. He was like, we can't play like this. We have to sit a bit deeper and be pragmatic and defend it. And United's best trait last year was a defense. Now, this season's battles, he's losing. He chooses Onana over De Gea. That has hurt the team. He chooses to pick a fight with Sancho. I think that's hurting the team because it's dragging on. I think Sancho has a little bit of a street swagger, a sense of like he's a guy that the team's not playing well. He's really good. Why are you playing Anthony when we have a guy who was a 20 and 15 guy in the Bundesliga? You're hurting our team. Your guy's doing nothing. And he tried to kill Jeremy Doku. And he's a wife beater. Like, what are we doing? Sancho hasn't beat anyone's wife. All he does is not train up to your standards.
Well,
Let's
now, so
let's figure this
I
out.
want to get your reaction then with this in mind. According to the powerful Daily Mail
Oh,
UK, said that Marcus Rashford risks the wrath of Eric Ten Hag as the underperforming Man United winger heads out clubbing straight after humiliating Derby defeat at Old Trafford.
I don't care.
And
I don't
so
care about that. I don't care
no,
about that.
you don't care about that. But
No.
when my thing is, when you are a manager, see, I watched the documentary with David Beckham, and it brought things into perspective because obviously I was too young in 98, 99 to experience how Ferguson was as a manager. And he was just somebody of discipline, somebody that was that everything was in house. When Beckham had his deal going on with the media, he just he just locked everybody out like the bubble, and said nobody's getting in, nobody's coming out. We're together. We're in this and that. If you're strict, how can you how can you be strict with some players and other players you just
Well,
don't do
I
anything?
mean, I think that's the inconsistency. How can Rashford and Antony keep playing when they stink? And
Right.
you have this guy Sancho who, yeah, he underperformed. But you can't keep running the same players out there. It would be one thing if you were scoring goals and they were doing great. You got to change it up, right? Like I don't understand it. Anyway, United are a mess. I'm so happy that they're a mess. It's just a fantastic thing. You know, you if you
For
let's
you.
see what we got here. I think Man U fans double down on Baldy so hard that they are blind to his underperforming. They were so sick of kicking out managers that now they have gone too far the other way to support Baldy. Yeah, Yama, I don't think you're wrong there, but I do. There was a really good debate on Sky Sports after the game with Jamie
Yes.
Carragher and Phil Neville. Carragher was talking about
Carrier was me, and you were
right,
uh
right.
yeah.
I was Phil Neville. I really like Phil Neville, but I understood what he was talking about. They were both correct. On the one hand, Carragher is talking about, I don't want to hear about what's going on upstairs. You bought these players. You've got to get them to play. And Gary Neville's point was, if you're in a workplace that's not functioning, it's really hard to do well. And I understood that because I have worked at places that are not functioning. And it is really hard to do well. Like I worked at AOL, we had layoffs going upon pay, blah, 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 all these things. It stinks. And you
Yeah.
really need a great leader to even do anything decent when you're in those states. Like I was working at AOL and we got bought by these Google people, and they just came in and started cutting people. And everyone was petrified. Everyone dropped out, levels went down, and they thought that, you just can't work. You feel like you can't do anything. And so Ten Hag is in the middle of that. And I think it is instructive that all these managers, Van Gaal, Mourinho, it's really Van Gaal and Mourinho. Those are all-time great managers who
Right.
understand how to get a team to win and do things right. Both of them had the same problem. Something is rotten in Denmark, and it is the Glazer ownership. And it's not the Glazers themselves, it's the structure of the thing. The fact that the stadium's falling apart. What Gary Neville kept talking about is, if you want to be the best club in the world, you got to start with the details. The stadium's got to be great. The pitch has to be great. The training ground has to be great. The food for the players has to be great. You can't have Cristiano being like, yo, that bathtub that I left in 2008 is the same bathtub. You know what I mean? Like, you got to replace stuff. You got to make it nice. This is you know how they always say, this is Manchester United. Well, this is Manchester United. It's a 2004 Ferrari that is blowing black smoke out of the back of it, and you're still driving around with your cool clothes from the club in 2009.
Yeah.
It's 15 years later. It's over. Anyway,
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Um,
it.
let's keep talking about Premier League, of
Yes,
course.
sir.
And Chelsea, man, what is going on with
Oh,
Chelsea losing
Chelsea.
at home with none other than the most powerful team in European football, Brentford? And
I love me some Brentford and I love Brighton. Both of them are teams after my own heart. They're vertically integrated, run by gamblers, data driven, and they do the game on opposite ends. One is a kick and chase attacking team that will punch you in the mouth, which is Brentford, and then on Brighton's side, they will pass you off the floor and you don't even know what hit you, right?
yeah,
Brentford have a very small squad of strong guys out of Denmark, and then Brighton have mined South America, and they're finding guys under trees, right? Like if Enciso was playing, he's one of yours, right? Peru, right?
Who?
Enciso,
No, man, that's not my guy.
Paraguay. I got it wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, no,
Anyway,
that's all right.
but those dudes, they find them all over Caicedo. And so we have these two teams, and I love Brentford. Brentford had won 2 games in a row at Stamford Bridge. This game was not a surprise to me. The surprise is that it's the same problems for Chelsea. They just can't score. It's just so
No,
frustrating.
but they man, they losing at home to Brentford is tough.
They have
It's tough.
1 win at home in over a year.
Yeah. So
That is
the
bad.
the Stamford Bridge is not a
I
fort.
mean, to think that Jose Mourinho went 95 straight games at home without a loss at Stamford Bridge. That those teams were so strong and so rugged. And right now, what you're seeing is a young team. They have moments, they have little flicks and flashes. On 1 second, in the first 20 minutes of that game, you thought that they were going to blow Brentford away. And I think had they taken one of the chances, they
Yeah,
might have.
and
Cole
that's
Palmer is a player. He's the only one I trust. He
yeah.
can play.
Um,
Raheem Sterling does Raheem Sterling things. He is a bad finisher. He hits bars. He's so frustrating. As a City fan, I watched him for 6 years. And let me tell you, he gets in so many great positions, but he misses goals so much. That he scored 20 goals twice for City is a miracle. That's because Kevin De Bruyne put it on his foot and he was at the back post. I told people when he went to Chelsea, he would not score 10 goals a year, and he has not scored 10 goals a year, and he will not score 10 goals a year because Raheem Sterling is not someone who scores. He
a
makes
former Golden Boy, man. I talked
yeah,
about
but
it.
I mean, because he does all the right things, he's incredible. But that one part when you have to shoot,
Yeah.
he's bad at it.
Arsenal keep chipping away. That's important. They're second right now. The battle of North London up there with Tottenham and
Yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah. I think Arsenal did what they were supposed to do. They needed a game like this, like an easy kind of
Yeah,
game. I think the
yeah.
Nketiah I've liked for a long time. Like I really root for him. I like to see a youth player do well. So came through the academy, played at Leeds under Bielsa, kind of in and out. He looks like Marlowe Stansfield from The Wire. The second goal was incredible. The third goal, I'm sorry, of his hat trick was incredible. The first one was a nice striker's goal. The inside touch to loop it around the player and fire it in. Then the other one, he roofs after foddering him, sort of drops it for Sheffield United. Sheffield United are a mess. That team is
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, it's
They can't even get a break. They can't even get anything going.
so Arsenal does what they're supposed to do. They win this one.
Without Odegaard, which is for the first time, they really, I think Arteta is sort of seeing these moments where he's like, okay, if there's a game I can rest my guy
Right.
because I need him later on, it's this one. And so Rice was playing further forward, which was good to see him. He was making passes.
Tottenham still. What can you make of Spurs, man?
They're
Because
good.
people give them crap. I watched everything, and people are like, that's cool, but we all know they're not going to win the Premier League. It just,
Listen,
it's always about that. But I'm like, why not? I mean, I understand all the history, but why not?
yeah, I think with Spurs, it's just there's an assumption and a looking at the Premier League and knowing its history and knowing that it can spit you out. And so it's that Christmas period. If they can get through Christmas where they're the only league in town playing tons of games, and I think their depth is light. Like they really need Richarlison to start scoring goals. Otherwise, it's really just Madison and Son. They really need Kulishevsky to shoot, for Christ's sake. I mean, the guy dribbles and dribbles and dribbles and doesn't shoot, but they
Dribble,
are
dribble,
getting guys back. The squad is getting good. They just have some key players that if they lose them, they're in trouble. And they're going to lose, I believe, 3 guys during the African Cup of Nations. I think Sar, I think Basuma will go. So there's a big tournament in the middle of the season that's going to hurt teams. City used to go through this with Yaya Toure. I was like, where the hell's he going? But he would go to play for Cote d'Ivoire. So, Mo Salah will go to Africa for Egypt. But Why not Spurs? I agree. They're only playing once a week. They're already out of the
Yeah.
Carabao Cup. You know, they
I
can
mean,
do it.
when
They
a
have
team gives you for 10, but what? Yeah, 10 games straight, they give you, you know, they're pretty good. I mean, it's just
2.6 points per game. That
yeah,
is a lot.
yeah. And I mean, it is a tight game though. I mean, right, well, I mean, tight up there with
We have
Arsenal,
the
City.
highest
It's
three
only 2
points.
points away.
Yeah, you have the most points after 10 games that three teams have had ever, with
Yeah, yeah,
City,
pretty nice.
Spurs, and
Um,
Arsenal. Now, I will say this. Where Spurs are right now, no team that has had 26 points after 10 games has ever finished out of the top 4. Because who's going to catch them? Is it your guys? Is
but
it Aston
it's
Villa?
pretty tight though. It's pretty tight. I mean, all
Is Aston
through.
Villa going to catch them?
I
I
mean,
don't think
Aston
so.
Villa is
It's right
4
there
points away. So, I mean, a lot of teams could. I mean, why not? We'll see how it develops. But at the end of
because
the day, I don't think they're. I mean, I don't believe they're going to win the Premier League. But just because of the just having to sustain, because right now they're looking at Arsenal and Liverpool and City in the back of their necks every week, every week, every week.
but
Well,
maybe
some
they
of
don't
them,
care.
yeah,
Maybe they're just like, you know what? No one thinks they're gonna catch us. You just keep going. You do the Ranieri with Leicester. You're like, all we care about is getting to 40 points so we don't get relegated. That was
true.
his line the whole season. Then he's like, oh, we can dream now. We can dream.
Yeah,
Dilly dong, dilly ding.
yeah, that is true. Inter Milan says I hate to say it, but they only scored 5. Arsenal. They're talking about Arsenal. Yeah, because
Oh, he's
that's
gonna he's
man.
shitting on
Yeah.
sitting on Spurs. No team has ever
Uh,
finished out of the top 4. We're talking about Bottlingham. Bottlingham. Challenge accepted. Well, yeah, they could do it. There's a first time for everything. The question is who's going to take their place? I think we all fundamentally agree that Liverpool, Arsenal, and City are going to be the first 3 spots, right? We thought that United would be the team for that spot, but it seems like they're not there. And so now we have Aston Villa and Spurs to be the challengers for that spot, with an outside shot for I think Newcastle are there or thereabouts. And those are the 3 teams for those spots. I don't think there's anyone else. My beloved Brighton, who I picked for top 4,
well, Brighton got the same points as Newcastle, so I mean, you got to count them.
yeah,
But
but the underlying numbers, like
yeah,
Newcastle, are
yeah,
really
yeah.
really good, and they do beat people really really
And then you
bad.
got Manchester United. I don't think I want to give them that
They're
much.
not. No, United. It would, if United made the top 4 from the way they're playing. I'm not talking about points. From the way they're playing now, I would be completely shocked. It would be a turnaround of epic proportions if this team turned it around and started playing well and strung. I mean, think about it. You got a string like, can they win 8 out of 10? United? No. How?
Mm,
When? When are they doing that? Can they have a run like Spurs just had? No. How are they doing that? When? I
yeah.
don't. I just don't see
It
it. They
doesn't
can't
it doesn't
score.
look like it. Liverpool, getting it done this weekend as well. 23 points right now
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the
I think
Reds.
the big story in this game though is the Luis Diaz thing. I missed it
Oh,
on
yeah,
my
yeah.
show and I felt bad. I kind of forgot about it. But to have your family kidnapped, this was a thing that used to happen in baseball with the Venezuelan players. I remember Ugueth Urbina getting arrested because he found the guys who kidnapped his family. He attacked them with a machete and tried to set them on fire. So that was some
It's
backroom
happened
justice.
it's happened in football before. It's happened in football, and actually
Right,
Colombian
that's right.
criminals are very well known
That's
for
right.
doing this stuff.
The cartels.
Back in the
Yeah.
early when the cartels were heavy,
Mm,
Pablo
mm, mm, mm,
Escobar,
mm.
well,
Mm, mm, mm,
you
mm.
know,
I do remember that.
when
So
Escobar got killed.
I do. So we've touched on Spurs and Arsenal and City and
Yeah.
United and Chelsea. I think Chelsea will come good. I believe in them. I don't know why. I believe in Pochettino. They'll find a striker.
Yeah,
Nkunku will be.
they'll find that, but I mean,
I do.
at
I
this
do want to
at
give
this
a little shout out to my boys from Brighton, because I missed this one. I didn't get a chance to talk about it. You want to talk about a bad VAR call? Paulinho throws an elbow on Pascual Gross that is straight up. I mean, it's like, and he doesn't get called. In
hey,
fact, he stays on the pitch, not even a yellow. He just pops the guy in the face. It's not inadvertent. I'm leading with my elbow. I'm hitting you in the face. No call, no check, nothing. Of course, he ends up getting the winner
I'm looking. I'm
later in the
looking at
game.
it. I'm looking at it right now. Paulinho rumored for Newcastle too, man. We
Well,
got to talk about the Magpies. Come on,
whoever gets Paulinho is getting a
a
club-changing
tough,
player.
tough,
He's
a
good.
tough, customer.
I'll tell you
100%.
this right now. If Fulham lose him and they're not well clear of the relegation zone, they'll go down. That's how good he is. He's keeping that club up single-handedly.
I
He's
can't
that good.
find the elbow,
I'm telling you, he
but
pops him like boop.
that's kind of what we need right now with Tonali being out.
Oh yeah, you guys.
Let's talk a little bit. There's a controversial call in that match as well, big one
Oh, that
for
was a good game, man.
against
That's your
Wolves.
team. That's the team we forgot. That's the game we forgot.
There was, I mean, it wasn't a penalty. You know, I'm a Magpie, but
Yeah, that was
I
never
can't
a
deny
penalty. That was
that wasn't
awful.
a penalty. But then again, I don't blame the referee because to me, if the
VAR has
referee,
to say no. That's not a penalty.
well, see, the way I think about it is this way: if myself, I'm watching the game and I think that's a penalty, so I think the referee thought the same thing. Now, if you got VAR, they need to. They don't have the balls to say, "Hey, I think it's not a penalty. Come look at it." What's so bad about coming to look at it? I mean, you know, it's just
The
incredible,
whole thing. You know what it is. Here's the context that I don't have,
incredible, man.
and I need to understand it more. I need to literally understand the history of refereeing in England. Like, who is the pool? Is it professional? Are
Yeah.
they paid? Like, Howard Webb is
Yeah,
formerly a cop from Manchester. I mean, from
maybe the referees are
Newcastle.
not
Like,
getting paid enough. I don't know.
who are these dudes? Right? Like,
Maybe this is a silent strike that we just don't know about.
yeah, like, and you have guys being like, "Oh, he's my friend. I know him, and I don't call him." Like, I don't. Oh, VAR got 4 camels in his hip.
Hey, I like that.
That's not
And that
nice.
we're magpie talking, and that was a call. We recognize it wasn't a call, but that's what media tries to protect, though.
Yeah,
And I know he's doing this, you know, sarcastically.
yeah.
But all of a sudden,
I
shit.
don't think that's true. That's I don't think that the things are fixed. I mean, if I'm Gary O'Neill though, I am livid because you got the Onana one, you had another one that they got ripped off on, and now this one. By the way, I'm gonna do it again. Gary O'Neill for England. This dude is a coach, my friends. Look out. He's gonna take that Everton job. He's gonna get the Newcastle job when Eddie Howe falls apart. He's gonna be for Spurs. Gary O'Neill. Put it in the books. I love him. He took a shit, and I mean that Bournemouth team is terrible. And they stayed up. He's taking this Wolves team, and people are like, huh,
Hey, I tell
whoa,
you this though.
they're good.
We're talking about because you know I got the Magpie channel, so we were talking about there, and a lot of people told me, "Hey, we got to be careful because Wolves is a serious team." And
Yeah.
number 12, man, you know that table number doesn't say much because that team is tough, and that
Yeah.
kid, and a lot of people, you know how I am. I'm a jokester, and I don't mean anything by more than what I say. But people ain't like I didn't know how to say Huang's name.
Yeah.
Huang, how do you say it?
He Ching Wang? I don't know.
And see, that's exactly what I sounded like, but I did on purpose miss say his name, and people call me Ray because I was featured on that reaction channel. They put my clips on there, and so people call me racist on that. They're just a
No,
bunch.
you get names wrong all the time. English is your second language.
Yeah,
Korean is your eighth language. So
yeah,
how the hell are you supposed to get it right?
and I actually lived in Korea for a year in the military, so I speak a little bit. I know how to say hi and everything, but nice player, and he was just every time he was dangerous. Danger
Yo,
and Neto,
that
unbelievable. He had to
when
leave too.
he drops Dan Burn on that touch on the inside for the second goal, man, I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
He dropped that team is good, man. Gary O'Neill.
It's crazy because they're not talked about, and certainly they don't come up in your highlights when you watch ESPN, I'm sure.
No.
So
Molyneux's an old ground, just as sort of
in a
strong
tough,
and powerful, and that team has history, back-to-back championships in the 50. Wolves is a real club. They mean something to a lot of people. They own the Midlands. Them and Aston Villa, along with Birmingham City. That's a real club. And I really like that team. I like Gary O'Neill. I wish they had a striker, like a real one. I like Matthias Cunha. If the dude could finish, he would not be playing at Wolves because He goes through dudes down the middle
Yeah,
of the pitch like
Cunha and
nobody's
Neto.
business.
Neto's hurt. I don't know what more
And
developed
losing
on that
Neto
one.
is huge. Maybe they'll move Cunha out wide and try
And
and
let me
play
tell you
some out in
something.
the middle.
I will say this because I think Liverpool. Well, Liverpool, I mean, actually, Newcastle can actually compete money wise with anybody now. But
Now they
I
can,
think
sure.
I think that maybe we could look at stuff like Neto would be nice for Newcastle. You know what I mean?
He just gets hurt though. I don't know. I mean, Arsenal were
He
in
got
for
hurt,
him.
but no, the whole time, man, this whole season, I just hear Neto, 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 and I keep
Leading the
thinking
league in
it's
assists. He's got
and I keep
7
thinking,
assists.
yeah, I've heard about it so much that I keep thinking his name is Neto, but it was Neto. But
No,
just
it's not Neto, it's Neto, Neto.
oh, I mean the other way. I thought it was the other way. I thought it was
Oh,
the other
okay,
way.
okay. Well, there's
Uh,
2 Netos. There's Netos in the net for Bournemouth. He's the goalkeeper, and then there's
yeah.
Neto for Wolves.
So yeah. I mean, what about the Giants of relegation? Burnley and Bournemouth. Bournemouth won that one, so they went above, just outside of it, man. They're just barely. But of course, Luton, Sheffield, and Burnley looking horrible.
God,
Man,
they're
Sheffield
bad.
1 point.
They're bad.
Oh boy, man, they
It's
got
good.
one.
Well, there's only so many points, right? If the top 3 are scoring a lot of points, that means they're
Yeah,
getting them from somewhere.
damn, boy,
Yeah,
that's 1 point.
I'm worried for my friend, Mr. Company. That team is bad. They go up in the game
But
first, and
it
a
shouldn't be
team
no
that could have
problem. That
what's that?
shouldn't be. I mean, that shouldn't be an issue. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I'm sure
I
they would
love
not
him.
have
What do you
fired him.
want? I love the man. It's Vincent Company.
No,
He's a legend.
I'm saying in his favor, like he's a manager managing um uh, Burnley. I mean,
Yeah, but you didn't
I
see
don't
what
think
that you didn't see what he did. He took Dyche's Burnley long ball
and he brought it up.
4-4-2. But not only did he bring it up, they did a 180. They went
Yeah,
from 30% possession to to leading the championship in goals and leading the championship in possession. He completely transformed
no,
that team.
I
But
100%
the players
with
that
you.
he had are not on a team. I was looking at Nathan Tella.
Well,
He's in Germany. Howard Bellis is in Southampton, so he doesn't have the same players. Matson, I think, is a
yeah,
fullback for Chelsea. Was another guy who was on that team, and he didn't really replace them. So they don't really have replacements. You really want to be like 2 points off the relegation battle in January, like just safe. You don't want to get cut loose,
yeah.
right? And that's where the thing is. And the other thing is they don't have a style that's up for the fight. Is Vincent Company really up for the battle? I think he and
I mean,
Areola
but,
are not. They're
but
playing this open football, which is absurd. What are you doing?
I think it would be unfair for them to fire him. I mean,
I don't think they will either. Yeah. I
and
mean,
brought him up, and let me tell you something. Right now they got 4 points. Bournemouth has 6, and it's going to be a battle of the
yeah.
four right there. The top,
Well, I mean, those
the
four,
low
right?
four, the
Yeah.
low four.
Yeah.
You got to be talking about the low four. So
Listen,
they can still stay in the Premier League. It's
of
no,
course,
no
they're
problem.
all being chased by a bear, and you don't have to be the fastest one. You just have to be faster than the guy. You have to be faster than
Exactly.
one guy, right?
It'll be sad to see Nottingham Forest go down, man. They got one hell of a
No,
stable.
no, no. Forest are fine. That team's too good.
Number 10, but I
I
mean
love.
number 10, 10 points. So yeah,
But the
they're
thing is
still
with Forest is
they're
like
still count.
they're better than Luton, they're better than
Yeah,
Burnley, and they're better than Sheffield, right?
yeah.
So they'll be fine. The thing
Uh,
that's key to me is like the one that I'd be concerned about. I think Luton are actually the good bad team. Like they don't care. They muck it up. They got big dudes. They're gonna defend.
please hit everybody.
They're just gonna kick it long. And those teams are teams that stay up, right? Like
Yep.
when you have that spirit, you have the new ground, you have all this stuff. They're not playing it out from the back. They're like, the back of what? I'm going out the moon door. You're crazy. I'm not playing anything out from the back. So they just hoof it. They've
Oh,
had 5 promotions in 10 years. They're gonna keep trying.
So let's talk about some international news. What do you think of Messi winning his 8th Ballon d'Or? I mean,
I mean, it's a
quite
popularity
deserving.
contest. He was gonna get it
Stop.
no
Stop with
matter
that
what.
crap, man. There's no popularity contest, bro. He he won the World Cup. What
I'm
popularity
aware.
contest are you talking
I
about?
called, of course he's gonna win it. It was easy.
No, but you say because he's just Messi, he wins his 8th. So
No, he
Messi
wa people
and
like the story, and he was great. I mean, he was great in the World Cup as well.
yeah, so he won the World Cup. It's not that he won the UEFA,
No,
the
no, no,
Europa
no.
League,
He won it.
and
Yeah,
just
he
'cause it's
won
Messi.
the thing. Yeah. He
Yeah.
did mail in his season, I think, is the tricky part.
Hey, so that's a nice comment right there. I wanna well, not really nice, but I wouldn't
Oh,
share
this
that last one. I just wish Everton would finally go down for the banter. These promoted teams have disappointed me. But listen,
yeah.
so because I'm on my quest for to just keep on adding to my Newcastle-ness. So is Everton is not not the enemy, is it? Are they? I mean,
They're not Newcastle's enemy. No, there's no
yeah, I know it's Sunderland, but I actually asked my people on the Magpie channel that I asked them,
Middlesbrough.
what big team do we hate? You know, because I know people in the chat in our private chat wants to give me crap, but I am a fan of a team. And when I was growing up, so I was like, it would be weird if they actually hated that
You
team.
call them Scouse Mackums. Wow, that's deep cut.
Gonna smash.
Scouse Mackums. A Mackham is someone from Sunderland, and the Scouse are obviously from Liverpool.
Oh man, I
Scouse
would say
Mackums. Wow.
Helen's.
No, I would imagine that Newcastle's biggest
No,
rivals would be historically they had really good games against Liverpool, but
hey,
no beef. They have the they have the they have
Manchester
the they
United
have the,
was
they have the fight with United a little bit in the early days,
because of the titles.
but really they were shit after that. They had no rivalries. They were
No,
kind of
but
just
in the late '90s, Manchester United, they beat us in the FA Cup, and then they beat us from the Premier League as well. So that could great,
you have the
but
famous
really,
rant.
but actually, I heard somebody.
Is it Middlesbrough into Yama? Is it
They told me
Middlesbrough?
Middlesbrough, yeah, but I'm talking about like big teams, like because what they told me in the '90s, somebody told me it was the top four was Liverpool, Arsenal, United, and Newcastle.
Yeah,
And then things, Chelsea, Abramovich, and then City, of course, later on. And so that kind of, so that was a,
yeah.
and
I mean,
Spurs,
2003 is really the
and,
line
and,
that
and then,
is
and then
there's
I
the
asked, because,
old Premier League and then there's a new Premier League.
well, listen, and then I asked, well, what about Spurs? They're top. We don't know why people say Spurs are bigger than Newcastle. I mean, they, you know what I mean? They're not any,
I
and I
told
agree.
you this reason.
No, don't tell me just because
From a
they
business reason, Alan Sugar was a driving force. He's in London. He
that has
actually
nothing
helps
to
the
do with it.
Premier League get made because he was going to make his own TV channel. Spurs have a big channel.
I know what the reason is. It's the milking that Arsenal titty, man. They're milking that Arsenal titty to the end, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh well, it's all very interesting. A lot of the stuff is history, like from the '60s, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just not known. Like Bill Nicholson had Spurs really good for a good 15-year period.
That
They
was
had
mad.
an FA Cup one.
I can't
Not
believe
sure
it.
why Villa fans are like that, but that's what some fans
Hey,
dislike.
Aston Villa is a nice club too.
I
But
like Villa. That's the thing about England. There's a lot of good teams. A
but
lot of
you
historical.
were saying about because he talked about Haaland as well, Inter Milan. You put Haaland in Argentina and they win the World Cup. You put Messi in City and he doesn't score as many goals.
Are you out of your fucking mind? You
Hey,
think Pep
you gotta
wouldn't?
respect. You
You
gotta
think you
respect the
think
opponent.
you think Pep wouldn't figure that out? Be like, oh, Messi, I trained this guy. Come on, get out of here.
No, I mean, obviously, but
City won the league without Holland. They had
do you think?
guys all over
But,
the place.
but do you think that Messi would have scored 50 goals last season?
50? No, he did. Yeah. He scored 50 goals when he was 23, just like Holland did.
But we will never know how he would perform in the Premier League.
He'd be fine. He's the best ever. Come on, what are we?
The best ever as a player. When we talk about now, you're talking about popularity contest, and all of a sudden you want to give him the trophy because he's the best ever. No, last year, and I agree that he's the best ever. But I'm saying,
Listen, he was
but come on.
lazy in Paris because he didn't care. But I think that with Pep would have played him way less minutes. He would have only paid 30 games. He would have, but I don't think Pep wants that kind of ego anymore. He's the ego of the club, right? Anyway,
Saab on the time. Man, this guy.
these guys,
Man.
man.
The Scouts Maxims got me for real.
House Magnum.
Not Messi. Okay, so but I mean, last thoughts on the Messi deal. I mean, this is gonna be the last one. I don't think he'll ever win another one.
No.
Shoot, I mean, 8. That's the most all time, and more than likely will stay that way for.
Nobody is.
I don't think it. Yeah.
I think. I mean, I think the Cristiano Messi thing. There was never anything like it, and I would be surprised if two players that good ever
France.
came to it
Well,
again.
it
And I
could be
and I
Mbappe
and I
and Haaland.
but I think, though, it requires a level of competitiveness that I don't think either of them have, right? Like,
An ego.
yeah, no, but like a fire. And I think ultimately, and I think if you got them in a room, and hopefully they'll come together, and as they get older, they'll hang out together and sort of be like this pair. They pushed each other. There's no way either of them is as good without the other, especially when they were in La Liga together. You knew if Cristiano scored two, Messi was going to try and score three. If Messi scored two, Cristiano was going to try and get a hat trick. Without that competition, they pushed each other to be the best they could possibly be. I know for Cristiano, it definitely happened because he wanted that Pichichi every year. He was like, what do you mean we're up 5-0? I can still score. I want to keep
Yeah.
playing. Right. And Messi just did it in a different way in that he loved football so much that he was like, just let me play. I love this. Let's have fun.
But
Right?
Messi quietly, but he still wanted to
He's
beat
a killer.
Ronaldo in goals. I mean,
Yeah, I
he
think
went.
there's
Yeah,
no way he could be that good without being super competitive, right? There's
yeah,
no way, right? There's just
no,
nothing that says that. Anyway, you could talk about Messi, Ronaldo forever.
yeah,
It's the LeBron Jordan of our era, except not really because Jordan was better than LeBron.
that is true. Like my man Kobe Bryant was better than LeBron in my eyes. But anyways,
You're wrong, but that's okay.
no, no,
You
I'm
can
not.
be wrong. He's lucky
Uh,
that he died. If he didn't die, no one would
man,
even talk
shut the
about it.
hell up. Nah, hell no,
Yes,
hell
when
no.
people die, that they
No,
become
but he
frozen in
was a legend
elevators.
before he died. What do you mean?
No, I know, but
He was a
to
goat.
think that he's better than LeBron is crazy. Get out
Nah,
of here.
nah.
I saw the
Eh,
man play. Come on, I'm almost 50 years old. It's not even close. Get out of here.
anyways, whatever.
This is the
You just
delusion.
you just
Delusion
swiping
of
everybody away.
what?
But anyways, so I think that's what we got as far as no. Hey man, what that crazy situation with Grosso, man,
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
and that's the first time I've seen an actual protagonist like raw. Just his face was beaten in, and
I
they
think it
just
was glass. I think it was probably just a bottle went through the glass window and hit
oh
him.
he needed to have a lot of stitches in it. If
Well,
not,
let's set it up. This is Lyon versus Marseille in League One. The
yeah.
Lyon bus was attacked on its way to Marseille. Let us be clear: Marseille fans have attacked their own training ground and the directors of their team. This is not new. Marseille is a rough town, has been literally for centuries. If you know the movie The French Connection, the heroin dealers are from France. So
Mm.
it's like a pirate haven. It has been an old school, rough and tumble town for many, many, many years. It's sort of like this confluence of Mediterranean history and France and crime and criminals, and it's just part of the club of Marseille. They are the before PSG. They're probably the biggest team in France in terms of ultras. Along with Saint Etienne, but Saint Etienne have really declined. Lyon had the 7-year run, but they're kind of more of a middle class, nice city team. But they really went after Lyon, even though Lyon are bottom of the table. The team's falling apart, which is weird.
But this stuff has gotten out of control. I mean,
Yeah, it happens in France a lot. It's sort of swept under the rug because, no one ever thinks of French hooliganism as a thing. And I don't know why, but it is a thing.
it is
And
very much.
French people are tough and they will mess you up and they will rob you. And just because it's France and you think of Paris doesn't mean there aren't badass mothers who live in France and will throw bottles at you.
And but when I read this stuff, I'm like I always tell myself in an ironic voice, you mean to tell me that this happens in Europe and not just South American, that South Americans are not just the evil of football?
Well,
No, it happens
it
every freaking
happens
where,
everywhere.
Italy included.
Everywhere.
It happened badly, worse than anybody than anywhere else in England until they fixed
Yes.
it. Because
Yes.
I mean, I was
The,
just chatting with the guys
the
at the
money
Mac.
fixed it. Yeah.
They just, I mean, they will kill on the, you get stabbed during the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was bad.
uh, and they fixed the hooligans, but still, you got rough people out there, and,
The thing is, it happens in every country.
it
In
happens
some
everywhere.
of them, it's even weirder. Like places like Sweden has hardcore ultras where
Oh my
guys,
God. Turkish.
Turks, they have
Oh
it's
my god.
everywhere. It's part of football. My guys, Red Star Belgrade versus Partizan is like they set the stadium on fire, and they go into the opposing fans go with police escort, not police escort, but metal freaking armored cars take them through. I mean, it's crazy. What happened to Leon? Bad coaching, selling players. They just lost their mojo.
Remember Juninho Pernambucano?
They were good.
Man, he is the best free kick shooter I've seen in my entire. It's incredible. Yeah, they were kings of
Karim
France.
Benzema, man, came through Lyon.
Karim Benzema was killing it. Yeah, that's true.
19, young, real young.
Well, that's it for this episode of Football Tonight, brought to you by TopFCTV. Laurent Courtines, of course, right here with me, and everybody. You're my man. You've been commenting. I appreciate your showing the support, brother. And if you are a Newcastle fan, link in the description below. If you're a City fan, Laurent Courtines, follow his show, the Squeaky Bum Time podcast. Here on this
I will
channel.
make sure to hammer on Manchester United until they're in the ground.
And you can listen to his show, Squeaky Bum Time Podcast, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, your mama's podcast, your grandmama's podcast, anywhere else, audio platform, you see him. Yama said, last comment, tribalism, isn't it? That's essentially what football is. When thousands got together banging drums and chanting for centuries, it was for war. Now, without wars like that, the energy is directed to footy. Okay, we'll leave that at that.
Sure, why not?
Anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.